Hello and welcome back, guys. This is me. So today I'm going to continue with the composite function, which where I stopped from my previous video. But this time I'm going to focus on one part mainly. In my previous video, I talked about FGX. For example, I just give a brief explanation first on my above previous video. And by the way, if you want to understand this, make sure you watch my previous video first, then you come back here, okay, if you don't get what I mean in this video. So first thing, you have three, let me do the circle. So in my previous video I explained to you that first bridge, for example here is X, and you cross the bridge of F, you reach the second bridge, and from here you go to the next bridge, you reach the third bridge. You reach to the next part, you cross the second bridge, which is the G, and you go to the next. And by the way, guys, I usually call the F and G as a bridge. It's the easy way to understand. It's like you're crossing the bridge. And what I mainly cover in my previous video is a shortcut method. Instead of I crossing the bridge F and bridge G, I can directly go from here to here, and this we call the bridge GF. And I do tell you that GF, which is this function, can made up of two, which is the GX and the FX. Actually, I'm not plusing, it's just a idea of understanding. So the GFX consists of two functions, two bridges, the G bridge and the F bridge, which is the FX and the GX, isn't it? And we use these two info to find out the GFX. Or sometime FGX. As long you have the FX and the GX, you're actually able to find out the GFX or FGX. But in this video, I'm not covering that. Instead, it's something same, but not exactly the same. In this video, I'm going to cover that if, let's just say, I give the GFX and given the FX, is that possible for me to find my GX? The answer is yes. And how you're going to find is actually what I'm going to cover today. So in this video, I'm going to cover how to find out one of the function, either the GX or FX, if they give the main bridge that connecting from one to another, either the GFX or FGX. So we're going to find using that, finding the smaller bridge, which is either the GX or the FX. So that's what I'm going to cover for today's video. So let's go to the example here. So here it's given my GX and my FGX. So I should find out about that. I forgot to write the question, my bad. This is the question, guys. Find the value of FX. I think my next question also I didn't write the question. Find the value of FX. So I given my FGX, I got my GX, and now I should find out my FX. And how? So very simple. If you use this method, it's easy. I use the method of first form. First form. What does that mean? Actually, it's the word that simply created one. So F here stands for function inside substitute. Let me write down function inside, the S here stands for substitute. Face FIS. Next, for function, same the F everything function. The O is outside. L here is let Y. So here FOL is the easy way to understand. So you need to know how to differentiate face and for first. What do I mean by inside and outside? Which means the function inside that you should substitute. What to substitute? Later I'll explain. Function outside you should let Y. Later I'll explain also that. But what is inside and outside? What do I mean by that? Here you go. For example, let's just say I use this example, fgx equals to x minus 2. So this fgx, there is two function, which is the function f and the function g. If you realize the f here is outside, isn't it? And the g here is inside. That's what I mean. So if let's just say you want to find the fx, the f here is outside. So when it is outside, you should let Y. That's what I mean, the for mean. So in this case, you should let Y. What to let Y? Now I will explain to you. So you understand the f, you see the function. If let's just say gfx, the g here is outside. The f here is inside. Okay? So if outside you let Y, the G is outside. Let's just say you want to find the GX. The G is outside, right? So you let Y. If let's say you want to find the F, which is the FX, F is inside, you substitute. So later I have more questions, so we will do one by one and you understand it more better. You just have to watch it very carefully. That's it. So clear with this, Now this is F. You want to find your F, right? Your F is outside. So outside you should let Y. So first thing, before you let Y, you have to do this step first. Watch this carefully. So first thing, remember I told you in my previous video, if you want to find the fgx, the composite function, you should first expand, isn't it? Same do here. Expand them. fgx equals to x minus 2. You see, I didn't change anything. What I did is I just add a bracket. I expand them. And now, if you see, substitute first whatever you know. This is gx. And you know what? I have my gx, isn't it? Which is this, x minus 5. Then substitute lah. Sub here. So my f, which I don't know, maintain the f, and my gx is x minus 5, and this is x minus 2. This is the common step, it's the same step, nothing different. First thing you substitute, done. And here is where you apply the phase for. So now your function outside, right? You're finding the fx, right? And you should let Y. So do the side working. So you let Y to who? to the inside the bracket. Always let y to the inside bracket one. So you let y to x minus 5. So you let y find the x. Always remember, let y find the x, start with single y and then end with single x. So you find your x, bring the negative 5 this side, make it y plus 5 equals to x. That means your x is y plus 5, isn't it? I let my y, I find my x, start with single y, end with single x. And after this, what do you have to do? Since you know your x is equals to y plus 5, I actually can substitute my x here as y plus 5. I bring this side. So my x now, I know it's y plus 5, right? So I change. And I minus 2. So the x here I change. Because this is what I find. And what do I write this side? It's the same thing, no? But instead of x minus 5, I'm going to write y. Because I already say here that my x minus 5 is equals to y, isn't it? So I just let y here. And my x I substitute with y. So you realize in this step part there is no x, fully y. We replace y already. And then do your normal mathematics first. For now, f y plus 5 minus 2. Open the bracket lah. So 5 minus 2 is 3. So y plus 3. So this is my fy. What is my fx? X plus 3 lah. We are done. It's easy peasy. Just like that, right? Yeah, after you find the value of y, you change to x. Okay? That's it. It's the same concept like this. As you know, okay, so we already find our fy is y plus 3, right? Maybe if you don't get this part, I'll explain you. Fy equals to y plus 3. If let's just say my y is equals to 1, it's 1 plus 3, isn't it? If it's equals to 2, it's 2 plus 3. If equals to 9, it's 9 plus 3. But what if it's equals to x? So x plus 3. That's the idea. You just substitute, you replace with x. Okay, and we also can double check how we use the fx and gx that we have. Are we getting the fgx or not? We check lah whether it's correct or not. So let's check. Maybe I should erase this thing. Or bring this aside. So annoying. Okay, I'll put it here. So let's get back to this. Okay, so let's check whether our answer is correct or not. So you know fgx is made up of two functions. As we do is we actually expand them. First step, right? Let's check whether our answer is correct or not. So gx, you know our gx, which is x minus 5. So let's substitute x minus 5. And remember in my previous video I told you how to find fgx. So let's just say this is our fx, which is x plus 3. Let me check it's correct or not. And I just told you in my previous video how to find fgx, right? So how, whatever inside the bracket, assume like x. So this is like your fx, and you know your fx that we find is x plus 3, isn't it? But now it's not x, it's x minus 5. So your x here is replaced by x minus 5. So replace your x with x minus 5. So x is no longer x, but it's x minus 5 plus 3. Okay, your x I changed with x minus 5. And what are you getting? So x minus 5, I plus 3, I'm getting x minus 2. Ta-da! You see, it's the same answer. fgx, x minus 2. So the answer fx is correct. Now let's move on to next question. This is example 2. So here you go, same concept. Let's write the first point so that you don't forget this. Remember, this one let y. So this time they give us gx, fgx, and I'm sure you should find the fx. I didn't write the question, my bad. Find the value of fx. Here you go. Let's get back to this. So first thing first, you need to know whether the f is inside or outside. So you know your fgx is wait, since they already give us fgx, which is x minus 6, so you don't have to separate them, you'll separate them at the bottom. So you know your f is outside. Outside always let y. So guys, the step is the same for the first two steps, is the memang same one. Here you expand as usual, isn't it? And this is always equals to x minus 6 and what's your gx is x plus 8. So substitute x plus 8, and after this is where you have to let y. So let y to what? Always to the bracket, which is inside this x plus 8. Always let y to the bracket and start with single y and with single x. So y minus 8 is equals to x. So your x is y minus 8. And then replace your x with y minus 8. This x replace with y minus 8. Since you find already what's your x. And then here, you know your x plus 8, you already let it y. So instead of writing x plus 8, you just write y, because it's the same thing. Because you have let y equals to x plus 8. So you just can maintain the y there. And now you realize your x, everything gone, fully y. So what you do next step? So open bracket, y minus 8 minus 6, and you got y minus 14, isn't it? 8 minus 6 is 14. And now replace everything with x. The fx is equals to x minus 14. Done. And you know what? We can check our answer, right? So let's check too. So let's check whether fgx is x minus 6 or not. So you know fgx. First thing first, how you find the fgx? You expand them. Split. Substitute your gx first. So let's go. So your gx is x plus 8, and assume whatever inside your bracket as x, so it sounds like fx, isn't it? And what's your fx? It's x minus 14. But now your x is no longer x anymore, it's x plus 8. So replace your x with x plus 8, and don't forget to minus the 14. This x now no longer x, is x plus 8. And you minus 14 now, don't forget that. So 8 minus 14 is actually negative 6. Ta-da, ta-da. That's it. It's not difficult, right? Let's move on to next. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. So first thing, let me write down the wait, let me use blue. Phase form. Function inside substitute, function outside let y. So this time they give us fx, fgx, and I'm sure they asked us to find the gx. I think I forgot to write questions for every example. It's okay, my bad guys. I'm too lazy to write a very long question. Just put like this. Hope you guys know what does that mean. So fx is x plus 3. Sorry guys. Fgx is x minus 8, and gx is x, which we don't know. We have to find that. And now, first thing first, you need to identify whether the function that you're going to find is inside or outside. This time the g which you're going to find is inside, so that means first function inside substitute. You don't have to let y, just substitute. So let's do this step by step. How to substitute, I will explain you. So the first two steps is the same step. Fgx, what is fgx? X minus 8. Write down here, x minus 8. And next thing, you expand them, isn't it? If you want to find, you expand them. So f your g x x minus 8. And this one, the substitute here means is something similar like how we find fgx. It's the same thing. I told you, right? Whatever inside the bracket, assume as x. It's like your fx. It's like your fx. So this is like your fx. And what is your fx? X plus 3. So x plus 3 equals to x minus 8. But one thing, this time your x is not x. What is your x? Gx. Is this. You have to replace your x with gx. This is what I mean by substitute. You have to substitute your x with the gx. It's something similar like how you find fgx, right? The same step for this. But your x here, you replace with gx. And now you want to find your gx. The positive 3, you bring that side, become negative 3. So your gx, your x, you minus 8, and then you minus your 3. Don't forget, positive 3 bring here become negative 3. So negative 8 minus 3 become negative 11. So this is your gx. This one is easier compared to the let y, but the exam famous is always the letting y, because it's a bit difficult. Not difficult, students usually get confused in that part. This one you just have to substitute, so it's not too complicated. And there you go, we find the gx. And we also can check our answer. So let's check. Let's check whether fgx is correct or not. So fgx. First thing first, we expand them. Let's find. So what's your gx? As we find is x minus 11. And I do told you that whatever inside the bracket, assume it as x. So it's fx. Now your x is not x, but it's x minus 11. So replace your x with x minus 11. Your x is no longer x, huh? This thing. It's x minus 11. So replace your x with x minus 11. Let's check. So x minus 11 plus 3. You should get x minus 8. Ta-da, ta-da, it's the same. So here you go. It's the right answer. So function inside substitute is quite easy, right? So hope you get this. Let's move on to the next question. 1, 2, 3. Oh, by the way, if you feel that it's too fast, do let me know in the comment box, yeah? So next example 4. So I think it's almost the same. First thing first, phase form. Function inside substitute, function outside let y. And first thing fgx. So I'm sure you need to find your gx because you got the fx, you got the fgx, but you don't have your gx. So you should find your gx. So let's find the gx. So what's your fgx, huh? 10x plus 5, isn't it? We always start from the composite function, okay? And then the next step is always the expanding. So f g x. When we expand, it becomes 10x plus 5. Just copy paste. And remember, this one is inside. Your gx is inside. So you should substitute. And I do told you whatever inside the bracket is assumed like a x. So this is like your fx. And what is your fx? Two x minus 3. So 2x minus 3. And this is equals to 10x plus 5. And what is your x? Gx. This time it is gx. So replace your x with gx. So next you have done substituting. So what is the next step? Is actually you have to move around, just end with a single gx. So minus 3, bring that side, become positive 3. So 10x plus 5 minus 3 become positive 3. So 10x, actually 5 plus 3 is 8. And this is equals to 2gx. So your gx is times 2, right? So bring this side, become divide 2. So 10x plus 8 divided by 2. Cut. Simplify them. It's 5, 4, 1. So you'll get 5x plus 4. This is your gx. Ta-da! This is way more easier compared to the letting y. And we can also double check our answer. So let's check our answer, yeah? fgx. So let's check. First thing, how you find our fgx? The composite function. First thing first, expand them. And then substitute one by one. So your gx is gx. 5x plus 4. So let's find. 5x plus 4. And I just told you whatever inside the bracket, it's like x. Fx, what's your fx? Is 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. But your x is no longer x, it is actually 5x plus 4. So replace your x with 5x plus 4. Okay? So expand lah. 2 times 5 is 10x. 2 times 4 is 8 minus 3. So 8 minus 3 is 5. Ta-da. Here you go. Therefore, yeah, 5x plus 4, it's correct. So done. Am I too fast? I hope I'm not too fast, but I will try my best to go slower a bit. Okay? So I'll move on to the next question. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, this question is not anymore finding that one particular function, it like fx or gx from the composite function. It's from this onwards, it's actually a exam type question, where in composite function this type of question is quite famous. They like to add the unknowns so much, so it's exam type questions. So how we're going to solve this? But the method of doing, guys, is similar. And here you should learn one more thing, is learn how to compare. We always do comparison for this type of question. We always learn how to compare. So this one additional step you will do is comparing. But comparing, trust me guys, it's not so hard. It's just like compare to apple. That's it. So how you do is a quite similar way. Now, this is a type of question, guys, so please focus more. It's very important, so you can actually tackle and handle how to solve. You actually get an idea how to do exam questions. Okay, so fx here, which they give us, is 14 minus 3x. They give us a gx, uh, 2 minus 4x, and they do give us our fgx also, hx plus 4, sorry, plus k. I got some problem with my eyes. Okay, find the value of h and k. How you find? So they give us our fx and gx completely, that like there's no any issue with that. But if you look at our fgx, they give us something with nonsense thing, like an unknowns there, but they give us two extra info, that which is fx and gx, with no any problem. So from that, are you able to find your own fgx? Because the one that they give us, the one that provide to us, is something like that you don't get it. What is h and what is k? How are you going to do? But they give us your fx and they give you a gx. So actually from there, you actually can create your own fgx, isn't it? So let's find our own fgx. How you find fgx? This is the same method, right? First thing first, expand them. So what's your gx? Here you go, your gx is this, 2 minus 4x. And I just told you whatever inside your bracket, it's like a x, fx. So what's fx? There, it's 14 minus 3x. So 14 minus 3x. But your x is no longer x, it's actually 2 minus 4x. So replace your x with 2 minus 4x. And then expand them. 3 times 2, 6. Negative 3 times negative 4, positive 12x. It's just your simple math, yeah. You can even, if you're not sure with the answer, you can press calculator. And 14 you minus 6, you'll get 8. So 8 plus 12x. This is the fgx that you find. But the fgx that they provide to you, which is this one, is hx plus k. And look at yours, your fgx. Eight plus 12x is what you find, isn't it? And here come your additional step, is actually comparing. Oh, but before compare, actually it will look more better for you to understand if I write 12x plus 8. No matter 12x plus 8 or 8 plus 12x, the answer will be same. 3 plus 5 or 5 plus 3, it will still be 8, right? Same thing. But I've write in this way, there's a reason why. So you have to compare. And remember, compare apple to apple. Always remember, comparing what to what. You see, the one that you find and the one the question give. Let's see. Here got fgx, you also got fgx. Here got x, here got x. And in front the x got a number, got an unknown, and you got a number. And there's a plus, there is a plus. And there is an also something there which you don't know, but you know it's a number, right? And you also got a number. Which means this same, this same. And even plus plus also same lah, correct or not? That means your hk also should be same, right? Isn't it? The answer should be yes, h and k should be the same also. Your h should be equals to 12 and your k should be equals to 8. This is, you get the answer from comparing. So you can actually come up with the answer h12 k8. This is what you do, compare. You have to compare. So that you actually find the answer h and k, h12 k8. And this is the most common type of exam question, but not very famous lah. So if you get it, let's move on to the next question. 1, 2, 3, go. Example 6. Given fx is 6 minus 4x. So fx is 6 minus 4x, which what they give us. Gfx is, gx, they give us this also. I didn't notice, my bad. Fx is 6 minus 4x gx is ax plus b and they give us our g of x 2 minus 12x. So this time they give you fx very nice. Standard got x numbers. G of x also very nice. Got x, got numbers. No problem. But your gx got something which you don't know. What is a, what is b, but you know that is a number. So as we learn, we have two beautiful equations, fx and gx. From the two info, is that possible for us to create our own gx? The answer is yes. We can create our own gx. So let's do. So what method you should use? You have a composite function and you're finding one of that. Use the phase form method. So let's find our gx. Which is, what is this? So, and you should start from your gfx, right? And you need to know, first thing, the g is inside or outside. The g is outside, so you should let y. So let's do, wait, so what's your gfx, by the way? 2 minus 12x. And the next step, you expand them. You like put a bracket, you split them, isn't it? So g f x, and this will be equals to 2 minus 12x. I didn't change anything, I just had a bracket. And here is where you should let y. Before that, you should substitute. Don't forget to substitute. What's your fx? 6 minus 4x. Replace. And here is where you should let y. So let y to who? To the inside the bracket. The inside the bracket one is always so special, so you should let y there. So start with single y and with single x. So your 4x bring this side, and your 6, the positive y, bring here, become negative y. You should end with your single x. So your 4 here, bring this side. 6 minus y divided by 4 times, bring here dy. And you already find what is your x, isn't it? From this that you derive. So you can replace your entire x with 6 minus y over 4. So let's continue here. Oh, by the way, 6 minus 4x, you actually replace it with y, okay? So you actually can just write y instead of 6 minus 4x. 2 minus 12. Your x here, you actually replace with 6 minus y over 4. And you realize your x, everything gone. You left with y. And now what you do is normal division only. Simplify lah. Here 4, 12, you can actually simplify 1, 3, isn't it? 4 times 3 is 12 ma. So 2. So negative 3 times 6, negative 18. Negative 3 times negative y, positive 3y. So your 2, you don't forget to minus 18 lah. 2 minus 18 is negative 16 plus 3y. I'm looking so ugly, so writing 3y minus 16. I also can write as a gx 3x minus 16. Here you go, I find. And now compare. The last step is the same, compare. compare what you get and what they give. So what they give us is ax plus b. What you get is 3x minus 16. But you see, just now was very nice. Plus plus, xx, fgx, fgx, aabb, very nice. But this time, you see, gx, gx, okay, xx, okay. But here plus, here minus, how? If you look like that, of course you won't get the answer. But if I change the way of writing from this to this way, instead of writing like this, if I write 3x plus negative 16, I'm sure you're able to see this. And now you can see that it's the same. gx, gx, a3 same, xx same, plus plus same. That means your b is negative 16. Okay? From the compare, you get your a equals 3, b equals to negative 16. It is possible for your answer to be negative. Okay? This is one of the way that you can do. There's another way also. Yeah, there is another way. So I show you two methods also. This is method 1. You find your gx and then you compare the gx and gx. This time, method 2 is also the same thing. You have to compare. No matter which method you do, you have to compare. Method 2, instead of I'm using the gx, I find my gx. Instead of finding my gx, I still want to find my gfx. And I find my gfx. I want to find using the fx and gx they provide to me. What's my gfx? Is 2 minus 12x, right? But how you find your gfx? G expand with your fx, isn't it? What's your fx? There, 6 minus 4x. Substitute. This is method 2. I find my gfx and I compare that with that gfx, the one the question give. And I do told you the method is almost the same. Whatever into the bracket, assume like a x, right? So assume this like a x. So gx, what is your gx? Ax plus b. So a x plus b. What is your x? 6 minus 4x. Oh shit. And now what do you do? Expand them. 6 times with a, 6a. 4 times with a minus 4a. And don't forget there's x plus b. And maybe to make it nicer, since you see the axis at behind, I'm also putting it at the behind there. So your minus 4ax I put at the behind. The 6a and the b I put it at the front. 6a and I plus b. This one put here, this one put here. Follow the equation, so look nicer, cantik. Now this is your g of x. Let's compare this with what they give us. So the g of x that the question give us, so now this is your g of x, 6a plus b minus 4ax. The g of x that they give you 2 minus 12x. So let's compare apple to apple. Your g of x same. Your x at the corner same. That means the one at the in front should be the same as this, isn't it? And this one should be the same as this one. So I can say my negative 12 is equals to negative 4a. And my 6a plus b is equals to 2. So let's find our a. So negative 12 over negative 4, it's 3. Actually, you don't have to do division, you don't have to show, because you're doing Addmaths, but I should just do in your brain. So you got your a3, substitute here. 6, 8 is 3, b equals to 2. And then 6 times 3 is 18, 2 minus with your 18, you just need to use your calculator, you get negative 16. And there you go. This is method 2, and you realize both methods give you the same answer. This is your g of x method 2. So I'm sure method 2 is quite easy, whereas method 1 you should find the gx, you let y. But anyway, some people prefer method 1, some people prefer method 2, so I show both methods. So if you're okay with this, I will move on to the next question. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Example 7. So this time around, one unknown in one function. It's not like just now, like two unknowns, a and b, in the same function like f(g(x) or gx, but this time there's two unknown in two different functions, like h is in fx and k is in gfx. So if this kind of situation, just use the method 2, the easiest one. How you find a gfx? Just use the method 2. How you find your gfx? Let's find using the fx and gx value that they provide to you. G, open bracket, fx, expanding them, right? That's how you do, right? Okay. And next step is, of course, substituting your fx, which is 2x plus h. Don't forget the h. And I do told you, whatever inside the bracket, assume it as x. It's like gx. Can you see? So what's your gx? This is your gx. 3x minus 9. So 3, your x, and you minus 9. What is your x? 2x plus h. Right? Next step, expand them, isn't it? Expand 3 times 2 and 3 times h. So 3 times 2, you should get 6x. 3 times h, you should get 3h. And you minus 9. So this is the gfx that you find. So your gfx is this. 6x plus 3h minus the 9. And the gfx that the question provided to you is the k, x, and you plus 12. So always compare apple to apple, yeah. g(x), same. Your x same. That means the number before the x should be the same also. So your 6 must be equals to k, and this entire thing should be equals to 12. You don't say 3h only equals to 12 because there is no 9 in the next equation. So the entire thing is equals to 12. So this is equals to this is equals to this, compared to like just apple to apple. So your k is equals to 6, and I know 3h minus 9 is equals to 12. So your h, just use your calculator. 12 you plus 9, and then you divide with 3. So you just need to press your calculator, you get 7. Tada, k6 h7. And here you go, we are done. So this is the common exam type of question that they usually like to ask. Adding unknown is the favorite. It's like more to algebra. It's very like they like to add algebra too much. As what I see in the SPM from 2020 to 2024, they usually like to add more unknowns to make it things look complicated. So you have to find one by one. Sometimes it's comparing, sometimes substituting. Is the basics of mathematics. And actually I'm done with the composite function after this, so I'm going to move on to inverse function. So inverse function, to be honest, is not so difficult. It's just one thing you have to know, and after you know that, we are done with inverse function too. So now let's talk about inverse function. So which is the last subtopic of your first chapter in Addmaths. Sorry, I think my handwriting is not so nice. Maybe let me write it again. Inverse function. And it seems not nice, but hope you can read my handwriting. So inverse function. Inverse. The word inverse there tell everything. Terbalik. Inverse means like song sang. You terbalik. So if let's just say I have a domain that go from here to here. This is a function f. Let's just say this is x. This one of course will be fx. Let's just say this is 2, 4. So it's actually let's just say my fx equation is x plus 2. That means when my x is 2, I replace the 2 here, I plus 2, I'm getting my 4. What is inverse? This is fx, the function that you learn. But inverse function, terbalik. So instead of going from x to fx, you go from fx to x. Terbalik, song sang. This is called the inverse function. And the way that we represent the function, the bridge, is f inverse. We say it as f inverse mostly lah. Okay. So when we write an equation of a function, we write f inverse x, and we actually can generate the inverse function from the fx, from the normal function. So from fx, actually I can find my inverse function. How? Very easy concept. You just have to let y. You have to let y to fx. Remember, to find any of the inverse function, let y. Let y to inverse. Let y to function. Just say function. because it could be fx, gx, hx. Find the inverse of it, just like that. Okay, hope you get it. And yeah, there's one more thing. So for example, if you want to find the inverse of it, you should let y. So let y to what? Fx. Let y to function like fx, gx, the asal one, okay, the original function one. So fx is what? X plus 2. So, and don't forget this. This is the first thing that you need to know. Next state is start with single, sorry, should be y, and with single x. Start with single y and with single x is the next thing you need to know. You start your equation with your y, you let y. Your ending should be, sorry, ending should be x equals something. Okay, and how? Just do your normal mathematic, bring your x one side, your y one side. So your positive 2 bring here become negative 2. This is equals to x. So there you go, x equals to y minus 2. And done, your inverse. You see, you start with single y and with single x. That's what I mean. Okay, so you actually already find your inverse. Just replace your x with f inverse x and your y with x. Done. It's so easy, right? Comparing to composite. This is your f inverse function, which is x minus 2, and you can check for your inverse. You have to be careful. The x here represents the image inside the bracket, but according to the first subtopic that we learned, the normal fx, I told you the x represents object, the fx represents the image, remember? So but the x inside the bracket is object, because the x is object the entire fx is the image. But for inverse, because of its terbalik songsang, of course the naming also will be songsang, right? The x is now image because you start from here, which is from the image, and you end at here, which is at the object. That's why your image to object, you will use the image, find the object. From image you find the object through the songsang inverse. So now your x is not 2. Instead of 2 you have to put 4. Four minus 2, 2. There, from 4 I start from 4, I go here as the inverse, I take the terbalik bridge, I reach to 2. From image to object. That is overall for inverse function. We actually done with inverse function also, to be honest. But of course this is not overall. We will do a few questions. But before that, a few more things that I need to cover in inverse. I told you in my first video on function that function got something to do with the relation. Relation got 4 types: one to one, many to one, many to many, many to one, isn't it? there's 4. And function, not everything, it's just 2 of them. What is function? 1 to 1, many to 1. No matter what, your function, your image only got 1. Only 1. But inverse function, no. Inverse function can only do inverse for a relation that is 1 to 1. Only 1 to 1. You cannot do it many to 1. One object can only inverse, one image can only inverse with one object. Okay, I just now say object, right? So sorry. An image can only inverse and find one object. That's why inverse function can only do it 1 to 1 relation. It cannot be many to 1. So this thing you need to know. Inverse function only 1 to 1. There's a question that they will ask you like this also. My god, my domain doesn't look nice. Something like this. There's numbers, maybe A, B, C, D, E, and they ask you, there's a theoretical questions also. They will ask you, does this function has inverse? The answer is no. Why? Inverse function only can do 1 to 1, but this function is this many to 1, because it is a many to 1 relation. So you cannot do. That's the reason for this type of question, have to be very careful. Inverse function only 1 to 1. There's no many to 1. You cannot find inverse function for this. If you find, it's a math error. Okay, this is one more thing that I should cover. And not only this, I told you one more thing, that for function, if they give you a graph, for example, I give you a cubic graph and I ask you, does this graph got a function or not? How you find? We will use a vertical line test, isn't it? To determine whether a equation, a function, there's a function or not in a graph, you will use a vertical line test, isn't it? What you do, you choose any point that you like, maybe this point, and you draw a vertical line. And if it's cut at one point, this is in my first video, it is a function. If not at one point, like 2 point, more than 2 point, more than 1, like 2, 3, like this, it's not a function, isn't it? So this is a function. If I give you a graph, okay, I give you a graph and I ask you to find the inverse function. For example, this is a y, this is x, and I ask you to find the inverse function, like this. Does this equation has an inverse function? Does this have? How you find if graph? Same thing, do terbalik. This is vertical test. For inverse, what is the opposite test? Horizontal test. So to find whether there's an inverse function or not, do horizontal line test. Horizontal, I mean this line, horizontal line. Vertical means straight line, So choose any particular point that you want, maybe this point, and you draw a horizontal line. And same thing, if cut at one point, and then it is there's an inverse function. If it did not cut at one point, if like more than one, example like 2 3 like this, no inverse function. There is no any inverse function. So if they give you graph, do horizontal line test. For function, to identify there is a function or not, for graph you do vertical, inverse do horizontal. And inverse function only got to do with a one-to-one relation only. And how you find? You let y to the fx. From there, you start with single y and with single x, and you already find your inverse x. And don't forget, your inverse x, the x there represents image. Okay, so this is all you need to know for your inverse function. So actually I'm done with the chapter 1. Nothing to do already. In my next video, I'm going to do trial papers for chapter 1 function, and then I'll be doing video for chapter 2. Yeah, so that's all for today. See you. Bye.